Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight on CTV3 News, Ministry of Health and Wellness moves swiftly to remove fake Tylenol being sold at supermarkets across the country, including Orange Walk. Leader of the opposition Shine Baru offers apologies without apologizing to House Speaker Valerie Woods. The EU places Belize on list of non-cooperative jurisdiction for tax purposes. The government rejects the enlistment. And Orange Walk, Kenya set to commemorate World Food Day on Friday. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Tuesday, October 17th, 2023.
That'll be $50. Thank you. Wait, hey, this 50 is a fake.
How do you know it's a fake?
What are you talking about, sir? How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The Jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The Sleeping Giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe. Be sure. Know your money.
Movies are dreams. That you never forget.
The lights change how everything looks. It's hard to find our house.
Ours is the dark house with no lights.
In this family, it's the scientists versus the artists.
What kind of movie are we gonna make?
You stop making movies, it'll break your mother's heart.
I don't know what to do anymore.
You do what your heart says you have to. was your favorite part?
Jonas, we need your help. We're detecting increased aquatic activity 25,000 feet deep in the trench. It's an ancient ecosystem untouched by man. Whatever is down there is trying to make its way to the surface.
This was a bad idea.
Just a little bit.
Jonas, we've got company.
That's the biggest Meg I've ever seen.
Biggest Meg anyone's ever seen.
That's the apex predator.
Everybody make it to the station! You can make it! Hit fly!
3 massive Megs and who knows what else have escaped the breach.
I just hope it goes better than last time.
What happened last time?
You don't want to know.
This ain't the end. I saw you again.
Go! We've never seen this before. They hunted in packs.
We can relax. This place, Meg-proof. I mean, Jonas was always afraid of this, but I was also thinking...
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. Tylenol is an oral prescription drug used to relieve mild to moderately severe pain. But tonight, the Ministry of Health is raising concern over the fact that falsified Tylenol are being sold at various supermarkets across the country. This issue has forced the ministry to engage in an impromptu surveillance plan to get the fake meds off the shelves in all districts. It has been confirmed that the false Tylenol has been reported in supermarkets in the districts of Orange Walk, Belize, and Cayo. Today, the ministry invited the media for a Zoom interview to outline what the plan is to get the situation under control so as to safeguard the health of all Belizeans.
In this particular case, we actually received an alert. Someone was actually concerned. This is something that we do encourage the public. If you feel that something is wrong, let us know so that we can start an investigation. So we received the alert. We went out, we conducted something known as surveillance, market surveillance. We went out, we got samples at the location where the medication was said to be found. and we collected it, and we were able to get the samples and confirm with Johnson & Johnson that that product is not their product.
About how many packs have you guys taken away so far?
At this time, I don't have an exact figure. Immediately after the confirmation, we received the confirmation, we started the removal. It's something that is still ongoing because it's not at all the supermarkets. So we are literally going around to all the stores, seeing if they have the falsified version of the Tylenol and then removing them. I don't have a figure right now to give you, I'm sorry. In this case, we're trying to track down the source. What we know is that we have not found the batch in what we call our importation database, which is a database that includes all the medication that have received an importation permit from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We have not seen this batch in our importation database, so it likely means then that it came in illegally, and that's something that we're trying to determine who exactly is bringing it in and how is it that they are bringing it in. This is a pack of 2, and each caplet inside the packet is 500 milligrams.
As we told you last night, the product is identifiable since it appears that the falsified products are all bear batch number GS13790 on every packet with expiration date of March 2024. The ministry is clueless about how the medication got into the country, and an investigation is ongoing at this time.
These things are things that we have not yet sat down and, I guess, calculate the prevalence in certain districts because, like I said, we are still very in the early stages of this investigation. As soon as we receive the confirmation, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go out there and remove it. That's the first priority. When we are satisfied that we have removed what is available on the market, then we're going to sit down and we're going to say, look at the quantities that was available in each district and so on.
But which distributor could have brought in so much fake meds in country? Dr. Crystal Samaj, Chief Drug Inspector at the Ministry of Health, explains.
Based on what we are observing when we're actually going out into the supermarkets and removing the medication is that the merchants are saying that they could not recognize the medication as a falsified medication. We're trying to figure out where it is that they're purchasing the medication from. And it appears that it's not from any of the licensed drug distributors in the country. And it seems to be a salesperson who came around once and they have not seen that person again. That's the information that we're gathering.
Okay, and is there any fear from the ministry's side that these falsified packets may make their way into the licensed distributors' stock?
Well, the good thing is that every medication that is imported into the country does require an importation permit from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. So from the time that that permit is being issued, we have the ability to, if we want to, we can inspect the Tylenol that's coming into the country. And we also, as a requirement of the importation permit, is we need to see where medication is coming from, where they're purchasing medication from, and to ensure that they are purchasing from reputable sources and that they have their marketing authorization in the country.
Everyone is advised to avoid purchasing and consuming the product to safeguard their health. It is worth mentioning that controlled drugs should only be purchased from a trusted source who have a valid license from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
At the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we encourage everyone, whether it's a patient or a consumer, whether it's a merchant, shopkeeper, we ask persons to please ensure that they purchase medications only from licensed distributors.
The ministry is seeking the assistance of all merchants to revise their stock of Tylenol to validate they do not carry the batch number GS13790. In the case that it does, it should be removed immediately from the shelf and reported to the Ministry of Health and Wellness. As a footnote, earlier this year, the Ministry of Health and Wellness moved swiftly to remove the fake Zuda grip that was circulating in country. As Ministry of Health officials continue to work to ensure that all reported fake medication are removed from the shelves, the Minister of Health, who is currently in Brazil attending a conference, also spoke about the current situation. While the ministry has not identified the source of the fake medication, Minister Bernard today commended personnel from the ministry, particularly the newly enhanced Drug Inspection Unit, for their swift action to halt the situation.
The ministry is doing its job, that our drug inspectors are out there targeting and following up to ensure that people are bringing in the right drugs in the country. Now, remember, these Tylenol packages are things that comes in sometimes in the wrong way. I recall a few months back when we had to, when the customs had to seize some on customs items that did not even have the permits. And so, from what I understand, as I did check with my director, Dr. Musa, to expand on the details, and they weren't able to point who were the suppliers, but they found it in the different stores, some stores. And apparently all the packages have the same product number or packaging number, and so that doesn't normally happen. They come with a unique reference number, and then they have some identification at the back that showcase that it is a fake product. And again, we have to ensure that our people are sensitized and updated in terms of what is real and what is fake out there in terms of medication. There will always be persons that try to come and try to think that they can get away with doing these things. And they are just doing this at the detriment of our Belizean people. And the ministry will not leave any stones unturned when it comes to that. And whoever we find, we will be dealt with the full brunt of the law. And so our teams are out there, or again, with enhancing our drug inspection unit, with the now director that is there are serious commitments to ensure that we can get these things done effectively and efficiently across the country.
Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Kevin Bernard, is currently in Brazil attending the pre-COP10 and the pre-MOP3 meeting hosted by the WHO, PAHO, and the government of Brazil. Earlier today, the minister delivered the keynote address where he underscored Belize's unyielding commitment to global health and wellness, specifically in combating tobacco use and its far-reaching consequences. Our news team spoke to Minister Bernard following today's conference, and he told us more about Belize's participation in this important platform, which focuses on tobacco and ending its usage across the globe.
I'm currently attending, along with my CEO, the pre-COP10 and a pre-MOP meeting, which focuses on the FCTC protocol, which has to do with the control of the control of tobacco in countries, smoking habits and so forth. As you know, Belize have done a lot of work already in terms of the tobacco control legislation that we would want to pass in the House, hopefully by next year, and ensuring that we can put some measures. And this is something that all countries had signed on to from the wider health perspective, in terms of how we continue to reduce the effects of tobacco and so in our young people, in our elderly people, and trying to ensure that there are safe spaces as well where people have to traverse. So I was invited as one of the keynote speaker for the sessions, and so we'll be here over the next 3 more days to discuss all the various policy papers that have been put forward. And then after this meeting, then it goes to the technical people in November in Panama that will do the final presentations and documentations that I believe then is then taken up to the higher authorities, which are the heads of government and so forth. So it's an exciting, I'm pretty sure it's going to be an exciting 3 more days in terms of the many discussions that are taking place over the course of the day.
Belize's multifaceted approach to combat tobacco use, especially among the youth, according to Minister Bernard, is leading among the region as it focuses on evidence-based policy making, community engagement, and collaboration with various stakeholders.
Why we are here too is because Belize has been highlighted for the many efforts that has been done by our country in the region. One of the few in the region that have really advanced in terms of the legislation that we're trying to get done, and the steps that we do to try and address this. It takes political will. It will take serious commitment by the Ministry of Health personnel, the people of this country, of our country, and members in government to ensure that we can enact this legislation when it comes and take the necessary actions where necessary as well. Now, as you know, these things will always have its pros and cons when it comes to legislation. And so the consultation process also continues from our end as well. And so that everybody is aware of what this legislation will look like, what is the FCTC protocol that is governed and directed by through the World Health Organization. And so with the support of PAHO, we have done a lot in country. And so we were really highlighted in terms of our work. And so my presentation was mainly surrounded by that in terms of highlighting what we are doing, the campaigns that we've been pushing.
CEO in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Julio Sabido, is accompanying Minister Bernard at the ongoing conference, which is expected to conclude at the end of the week. Today, the European Union (EU) issued an updated list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, the Annex I list, adopted by the European Union's Council. The EU's reason for this decision is that Belize was assigned a partially compliant PC rating in the peer review of Belize's compliance with the International Standard on Exchange of Information on Request, published by the Global Forum on Tax Transparency and Exchange of Information, GF, on the 19th of July 2023. The criteria for establishing the EU list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, Criterion 1.2, requires a positive rating by the GF on EOIR of largely compliant or compliant. The ratings assigned to jurisdictions by the GF on or are taken into account automatically by the EU to assess compliance with Criterion 1.2. In sum, Belize's listing by the EU is automatic, but the government rejects as false the designation of Belize by the EU as a non-cooperative jurisdiction for tax purposes. The government of Belize views this automatic listing of Belize on the Annex I list as unjust and procedurally unfair, which leads to erroneous conclusions being drawn about Belize's commitment to work with its global partners in establishing a modern and fair international tax framework. According to government press release, before taking its decision, the EU failed to engage Belize on this matter. The decision was therefore arbitrary and contrary to past practice by the EU. Had the EU engaged with Belize, the EU would have learned of the significant steps Belize has already taken to address the identified deficiencies that led to the PC rating in the EOIR peer review. The release further states that the government of Belize has an unshakable commitment to the transparency of its tax and regulatory framework, as well as to establish an effective regime for the exchange of information for tax matters. In fulfilling this commitment, Belize has made substantial amendments to its laws and practices to better align with international standards. Critical elements of this legal reform include the initiatives of the government to modernize the company law framework, enhance the enforcement powers and ability of competent authorities in Belize to access and obtain information when requested, and put in place the appropriate oversight, administrative, and human resources required to ensure effective and efficient compliance with the EOIR standard. More specifically, prior to the conclusion of the EOIR peer review assessment, The government of Belize enacted legislation to further enhance Belize's legal framework to better align with the 2016 EOIR standard, particularly relating to 1. The availability of beneficial ownership and identity information on all relevant entities and arrangements, as well as 2. The availability of accounting information. Deficiencies around these two elements identified by the assessment team prior to the enactment of such legislation were the factors that contributed to Belize's PC rating. The PC rating received on a third element with respect to quality and timeliness of responses was also related to the legal framework around beneficial ownership information and accounting records, which have now been fully addressed. These legislative changes enable the relevant competent authority in Belize to access the relevant information, thus remedying the deficiencies identified in the EOIR peer review report. In short, GOB believes the listing of Belize is based on outdated information and a disregard of these numerous legislative changes. The EU has further informed Belize that it is in the coming months the GF receives and accepts a request by Belize to open a supplementary review of Belize's compliance with the EOIR standard. Then Belize will be removed from the Annex I list. The government of Belize again underscores that if there had been engagement with Belize, the EU would have been informed that Belize fully intends to submit such a request for a supplementary review at the earliest opportunity. The earliest time that Belize can request a supplementary review is 1 year post the publication of EOIR peer review report. In this respect, the government of Belize unequivocally states that it intends to submit a request for a supplementary review by July 2024 and if permitted before that date. Given these facts, the government of Belize wrote to the EU on the 2nd of October 2023, requesting that it revisit the decision to list Belize on the Annex I list, which, based on the actions taken, shows that by all objective criteria, Belize has fully addressed the deficiencies identified in the EOIR peer review report. To not do so files the face of due process, and the EU has yet again unfairly and erroneously labeled Belize as a non-cooperative tax jurisdiction. Indeed, the so-called automatic nature of the EU process can be best characterized as non-consultative, inflexible, and insensitive to the circumstances of small, highly vulnerable states such as Belize. The government of Belize notes that save for this listing of the Russian Federation, the EU Annex I list only contains small and vulnerable countries like Belize, yet fails to include any EU member state which has received a PC rating by the GF. The EU's listing process is devoid of the values of shared responsibility, mutual respect, accountability, fairness, and solidarity that underpin Belize's relation with the EU and its member states. Coming up next, we outline the email sent to the Speaker of the House by Shine Barrow. Does he apologize to her? We'll let you be the judge.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline. Another universe. So why do you want to stay and fight to save this one?
Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not gonna lose her again. Time has a pattern that it can't help reliving. Different people, different worlds, drawn to each other like magnets. It's my face. You stole my face.
If you were to go into the past, you have no idea what the consequences can be.
Bruce, I could fix things.
you could also destroy everything.
This can't be happening. I completely broke the universe.
Zod, we've been waiting for you.
I created a world with no metahumans. And now there's no one to defend us.
Want some help?
Oh. You are?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
If I can't undo what I did, if I can't get back, there might not be a future. What's the play? Batman, what do we do?
We try not to die.
It's not Clark.
My name is Kara.
I'm Barry. We're Barry. Barry, what are you doing? Our kids are gonna want to see this.
Retraction and apology to Belize Sugar Industries Limited. On the 10th of July 2023, Mr. Alfredo Ortega made certain statements on CTV's Despierta Belize, alleging that Belize Sugar Industries Limited, BSI, engaged in the following activities. 1. Engaging in slavery. 2. Not respecting the law. Mr. Alfredo Ortega acknowledges that these statements were expressions of his opinions and may have been misunderstood as factual allegations. He regrets any harm caused by these statements and understands that they may have adversely affected BSI's globally recognized trade reputation as a provider of sugar. Mr. Alfredo Ortega unreservedly apologizes to BSI and retracts those statements in their entirety. He also undertakes not to have them repeated.
The following is a retraction and apology to the Belize Sugar Industries Limited. On the 10th of July 2023, Mr. Oscar Alonso made certain statements on CTV3's Despierta Belize, alleging that Belize Sugar Industries Limited, BSI, engages in the following activities. 1. Stealing sugar from cane farmers. 2. Oppressing people. Mr. Oscar Alonso acknowledges that these statements were expressions of his own opinions and may have been misunderstood as factual allegations. He regrets any harm caused by these statements and understands that they may have adversely affected BSI's globally recognized trade reputation as a provider of sugar. Mr. Oscar Alonso unreservedly apologizes to the BSI and retracts to those statements in their entirety. He also undertakes not to have them repeated.
While it is not yet clear how she will respond, Speaker of the House of Representatives Valerie Woods has received an email from Leader of the Opposition Moses Shine Barrow offering an apology of sorts. We say an apology of sorts because while apologies were offered, Barrow does not apologize. He offers the Speaker, and we quote, apologies for the offense you took to my email August 10th. Through the remainder of the email, Barrow complains that, and we quote, his valid complaints for which he does not specifically apologize were hijacked by the government side of the House to serve their partisan agenda to distract the Belizean people, and argues that the business of his and other constituencies is far too important for me to allow the PUP to turn the Parliament into a circus with their meaningless motions and make a mockery of the standing orders. Those complaints include the Speaker being a waste of time and allegedly seeking to protect the government with her rulings. Barrow says he has the highest respect for the institution of Parliament and the office of the Speaker, but adds that is when there is a feeling that there is a lack of reciprocity in reverence for the office of the leader and his opposition members, then trust and confidence is eroded, which translates into a house that is in disorder, with members having little to no regard for the standing orders and required decorum that should guide our discourse. He adds that without the opposition's voice, we have no democracy. The deadline for an apology, as required by the House, is October 31st at close of business. Last week, we told you about the concerns of residents of Tower Hill Village as it relates to ongoing water shortages within the community. Well, since that report, the area representative of Orange Walk East, Honorable Kevin Bernard, has been hard at work to establish a solution to this decade-old problem. Last week, 10,000 water gallons were installed in the community as a temporary solution. However, tonight there is good news for residents of that community, as works are scheduled to commence on Wednesday to establish Tower Hill's very own water system. The new water system, according to Minister Bernard, will come at a cost of over $60,000 and is being funded through a partnership between himself and the Ministry of Rural Transformation.
Tower Hill depended on Carmelita water system, and Carmelita itself is outgrowing its own water system. And so there are three things that I have done. One, I have written to the Social Investment Fund for them to see how they could assist us with getting a brand new water system for Tower Hill, and also in assisting us with finances to expand the one in Carmelita so that it could provide better access to potable drinking water for the Belizean people here and the residents of Carmelita and Tower Hill. Now, we went even further, Norma, and I must say that effective tomorrow, in fact, and through my CDF support, I have been able to contribute a significant amount of money. 25,000 from the CDF will be going directly to the project to construct the platform and that is necessary to house the 2 10-gallons system. The Ministry of Rural Transformation, and local government, they are going to be footing the other additional costs. I know that in terms of materials and supplies, it's an additional 23,000 that has to be provided, and then they have other equipments that needs to go in, the pumps, the piping that they are providing as well. So it's a cost of a little over $60,000 that will be invested in Tower Hill, and the work starts tomorrow. The contractor has already been identified, and they already have gotten the down payment on my behalf. And so the ministry is already making the necessary processes so that they can access the material immediately and get the work done.
Are also in the pipelines to address the water challenges faced by the neighboring community of Carmelita. The hope is to work together with the Social Investment Fund to bring that project to reality.
Similarly, in Carmelita, we're going to be pushing hard to see how we can address the issue in Carmelita. As I said, Carmelita is growing, expanding. People are now moving into building their homes and want expansion of water. That one small water system no longer can hold the amount of residents that resides in Carmelita. So I'm hoping that with our lobby efforts that we have been able to do with the Social Investment Fund, and I have gotten positive responses so far, that I can tell you that once Tower Hill gets off that system, it will also ease that system, because what will happen is that then Tower Hill personnel, residents in Tower Hill will be cut off from the Carmelita water system and then connected to their own water system, being that it's a very small village. And so, and that's just one of the challenges in Tower Hill. Tower Hill don't have access to land. They don't have even a cemetery. And those are other lobbying things that I'm working on for Tower Hill. As I said to them when I won in this area, I said that for too long the complaints have been that Tower Hill has always been neglected and forgotten because it's a small village. Well, I am committed to ensure that every village that I represent gets necessary attention that is needed. Now, we cannot do everything in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, but we must ensure that there's constant strides in making things different for the Belizean people, making life better for people or residents in Orange Walk East. And similarly, in Orange Walk Town, we continue to work with the town council, in improving road infrastructure, drainage, and with the Ramon Cervantes Park that is already underway. So, as you know, the Tower Hill Sitan Road was a very, very urgent matter, and I'm happy that we are able to get to see that work will commence tomorrow. So the Tower Hill people will soon have access to their own potable drinking water system.
Today is being recognized globally as International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. The day is being recognized under the theme Decent Work and Social Protection, putting dignity in practice for all. The government of Belize, through the Ministry of Human Development, United Nations Belize, and Joint SDG Fund, launched Belize Social Protection Summit 2023. Special Envoy for the Development of Families and Children, Rosanna Bersenio, encouraged everyone to join hands and work together to shaping a national social protection framework and strategy. This year's theme calls for universal social protection, prioritizing society's most vulnerable members, including those who are living in poverty. As we joined hands with stakeholders, we worked together shaping a national social protection framework and strategy that will be the stepping stone for upholding human dignity, the Special Envoy said. The United Nations noted that the ultimate goal is to eliminate poverty entirely by creating the conditions for everyone to live with dignity. Prime Minister John Brisenia departed the country today to attend the CARICOM Canada Summit 2023 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. During the Prime Minister's absence, Honorable Cordell Hyde, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining, will hold over as Prime Minister. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, October 18th here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News VZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.